So, I'm working on a puzzle. In fact, I'll show it to you. Working on a puzzle. It's of New York City. You couldn't tell, of the Empire State Building there. And it's kind of odd. It's I mean, I, like everyone else, I've spent a lot of time, like, since I was a kid, putting together puzzles. Just about everyone's like that, right? We all put together puzzles. Occasionally, as kids, you get stuck in on a rainy day, whatever. Well, it's my wife, really. She finds them wherever they are, the bookstores, the toy aisle. She'll find them, and she'll be like, "We need to get this," and then we'll go and we'll spill all the pieces out, and then never look at it again. Essentially, like she's probably put in a good dozen pieces to this one, but like most of this, the sky, the whole thing, like the signs, like it was me, because I'll stand here while I'm waiting for like the water to boil for whatever I'm making, or I'll be doing, I'll just be kind of plucking it away at it, and it's interesting, because I stand here and I'll be looking at this a lot now. Thinking about it, I think this is kind of most of our approach towards life. See, a lot of us have an idea what it's supposed to look like, right? And this is kind of a new thing. They didn't start doing this till a little while ago. Most of the time, you got to do this daily, right? You look at it. There's the concept of what your life is supposed to be like, and sometimes it's easy to fit certain pieces together. Like the sky is obviously so contrasting from all the rest of these. That's why I did it first. You can see what it looks like plain gray versus all this. I thought it was going to be a little tougher as well, but anyway. But I think in a lot of ways, also you see this as you're looking at it. There's clusters of pieces that are put together. That it's like I figured out how to put those, and I kind of have a general idea. It goes over here somewhere, but I haven't figured out a way to fit it in yet. I haven't figured out the way to connect it to the rest of the puzzle. And I think we spend a lot of time in our lives like that. Like, I have this section of my life, or even with right now what we're going through with this virus, that there's so many memes going around of it. I was this close to having my life together, to paying off that debt, to getting away from my student loans, to paying off my small business loan, or starting that new business venture, or doing the whatever. Like, I'm so close to doing this or that this happened, and then maybe you've been laid off, maybe you've been furloughed, maybe you're behind on your bills again, or something, like whatever the thing is. And you're just like, man, I was this close, had the pieces together, and now what? It's like, in some ways, we're waiting. Like, if we just had this one piece, then I could connect it all, and everything would be okay. And in some ways, that in itself can become a form of, like, idolatry almost. When I get my life together, I'll start considering spiritual things. If once, right now I'm just working. When I get married, I'll take that stuff seriously. We're just starting out, young couple, the whole thing. When we start having kids, then we'll start taking that stuff seriously. But then, now we're looking at it like, tomorrow is not guaranteed. It's not promised. You don't have any way of knowing if you're gonna get tomorrow. And there's a lot of people that woke up that went to bed last night not knowing that that was it. And they didn't wake up today thinking that someday I'll deal with this. But then I was thinking about another thing about this, is everyone's favorite piece in a puzzle is the last one. There's even some people where they'll take one and they'll purposely pocket it, and then they're like, oh, I got the last one, boom, right? You're waiting on someone else to come along and like solve the whole thing, essentially, so that you can come in at the last minute and be like, yeah, I got it and done. You just want to finish. You don't want to go through the work necessary. And I think we look at the world's problems that way as well. That because in some ways, what's interesting about this puzzle in particular is even though the pieces are scattered like this, I already know. See that? There's a piece missing. This piece will never, this puzzle will never be complete. And in some ways, I've thought about that of like, then what's even, is there even any worth in doing all of this stuff when I know that there's not going to be a last piece to go in? Because we have a cat, and the cat lost a piece, I think. Is it even worth it? And what I keep coming back to on that particular subject is that we kind of have this view of that, I think, that we're waiting on God. I hear atheists all the time. Why didn't God just the problems away? Well, maybe you need to put the puzzle together so you can see the big picture. Maybe you need to work on the pieces that are in front of you and not worry about what the last piece looks like. Maybe you need to stop waiting on God. And religious people do this too. I don't need to preach to people because the ones who are saved will be saved regardless. Frickin' the Calvinist type, the extreme Calvinist, I guess. It's like, no, you need to be busy. And this thing of it, if I were God, I would will it away. And the answer is no, you wouldn't. Because we all have a lot of agency, especially if you live here in the West, in America, where we will throw away more food than certain nations even will consume in a year. Like, we have so much more, and yet we do nothing to help others with it. Even, like, if you're religious, then you need to start with your church, you need to start with the people in your church, and you need to start with the people in the church, globally. But the simple fact is that if you aren't generous now with what you have, then you're going to be even more stingy later. Because, well, I haven't gotten my million yet. Once I got the million, well, I have the million, but I need to keep that so I can keep the millionaire status. So I need my second million. And, like, you just keep pushing the bar backwards, looking for another piece to fit in. And as long as you are doing that, you will never be an asset to anyone. You're never going to help anybody. So, my encouragement to you is this. Find a piece, find your piece, and add it to the puzzle. And if you add your piece, and someone else adds their piece, and someone else adds their piece, eventually we will have a big picture.